So 2019, the year of working through cognitive dissonance. So in the process of changing my life around, I built my entire, the latter part of my life, the last 10 years, on gospel music within Christianity. I'm no longer Christian. I'm a secular humanist and atheist. But right now, I still have to do the work until I can change some things around financially. Many would say, well, there's a lot of other jobs that you can do. Why not do something else? The issue is kind of just how things unfolded for me. My life was built around it, and I built up, pretty significant following as well as brand and everything. So unfortunately, just walking away from that is not possible. And beyond that, as far as livelihood, trying to do anything else just doesn't make sense. It's harder to do anything else. So it's not an easy decision. But what I've decided I'm going to do is just 2019, I'm going to try to make this the last year that I'm involved in doing gospel music. And, I'll still have probably occasional playing at churches and weddings. Playing at like funerals and weddings and that kind of thing. I don't mind that as much, but as far as on a day-to-day basis. So, for instance, like right now, what I'm getting ready to do is, my plan is to release at least a song a day, piano arrangement, and full arrangements at least a couple times a week. There's a lot of factors, financially. So that's going to hopefully really change things around financially, as I'm in kind of a red, urgent kind of, situation with just how things have unfolded and declined, for a number of reasons. So, but anyway, with that being said, and a number of reasons linked to this whole transition process over the last couple of years. But with that being said, the thing is, there are some songs that are more easy to stomach than others when it comes down to notions of sacrifice or notions of what I would consider self-degrading, even though it's in the form many people believe of self-empowerment. So right now I was thinking about doing the song, I Love You, Lord, Today, which the first verse is not too bad. And you get to the second verse of You Paid the Price for Me way back on Calvary. It's just a thing I really struggle with. And I think that's an ongoing guilt trip that is actually more unhealthy for humanity than it is healthy. So the cognitive dissonance and the tough thing is going through with that, because I have to do it for my livelihood for a short time, and just it being against what I really speak about, what I'm about, and what I feel I want to impart to other people. So I figured, the thing would be to just document the journey and just make this. I don't know if I'm going to make it based on an amount of days or just 2019 or amount of months or something like that. But I just figured I'm going to document the process of just this whole transition. I'm literally a walking cognitive dissonance, and I want to share it with everybody, bottom line. For those that are on, no matter what side of the fence, so to speak, when it comes to these matters. And so, I just wanted to share what it was like going through it. It's tough. One side is just just do the song, nothing to it. I like the music. It's actually one of my favorite when it comes to when I was playing gospel music, and if I was just sitting down and just playing something that was in a ballad, type of format. It's a simple song. It's nice. It's pretty. And that's how a lot of things are for me when it comes to gospel music, even though I would say my tastes are more so jazz now. In general, I don't even really listen to gospel music for pleasure as much as I used to. I have certain ones that I listen, certain songs that are classic to me that I listen to. I'll forever be a Richard Smallwood fan. I'll forever be a Fred Hammond fan, forever, because just musically, boom, it's there for me. But so with that being said, some songs are easier than others. The tough part, this is the most tough part probably, that the songs that are in my best interest to do financially are the ones that I disagree with the most philosophically. And so it brings me to the point of some things I just am unable to do. Now, as funny as it might seem, because many people don't see it this way, I felt that way about doing Amazing Grace, which I did about a week or two ago. And this is a classic. I mean, everybody knows Amazing Grace it is the number one world gospel song, or hymn when it comes to that kind of thing. And I get the overall nature of it in what people get inspiration from it. But at the same time, the concept of, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. To me, singing that line over and over again, a wretch like me, and it's something that to me is more harmful than good when it comes to psychologically. I don't believe that anybody's a wretch. I don't believe anybody ever was a wretch. And I don't call the experience of being human and making mistakes as being wretches undone. And so whether it's that or whether it's in the song At the Cross, when it's talking about such a wretch as I or a worm as I, if you look in certain books, it's not good. It's just not good. We've been conditioned to believe that it's humble, that it's humble to see ourselves in that way, and that's what we are. That's what we are from birth. But like I said in my podcast yesterday, I have never in my life met a person who, when they saw a baby come out of the womb, or when they seen a baby be born, and that kind of thing, has looked at that baby and said anything other than what a precious, innocent baby. I've never seen anybody look or talk about a baby as, look at this sinner, this wretch undone. Even though that's what we teach ourselves when we're not in those scenarios of relating to children or relating to their parents, and that kind of thing. And so, with that being said, there are many times when we're doing different things than we're saying, or we're saying different things than we're actually applying. And I think this is one of those cases. The whole idea of original sin, the whole idea of people just, unfortunately, because two people, it's embarrassing to even talk about it at this point. Because the idea that there were two people that ate of a fruit and didn't listen to the word don't, with the first example of do not that anybody has ever heard, and no examples of what that means. And furthermore, if you're unconvinced by that, who didn't have the knowledge of that until after. I always say, what is the name of the tree? Not that I believe in any of it. I believe it's, from the epic of Enuma Elish and the epic of Gilgamesh. But even just for sake of in the story, let's just look at the sensible nature of it. How would anybody be judged of something prior to having the knowledge of what they were doing, the awareness? And when people say, well, they were told not, that the word don't was used, we're looking at that as modern human beings that have gone through a process from the time we were at least one or two of hearing don't and do, and being able to gauge different scenarios, being able to gauge what it means and how it affects someone to be given a command or a statement and follow through it or not, or halfway. It's not something that you would learn on the first try, but somehow, because we're modern human beings and we're filling in the gaps mentally, we're filling in the gaps in order to make it make sense. We say those kinds of things. But anyway, getting off on a rant there, I just wanted to say that this is about documenting the process. I've realized that my life is a walking cognitive dissonance for it will be. And I wear it proudly because I feel like my sincerity, what I would deem as my humility, my open-mindedness and my friendliness, I believe will speak volumes to people who would usually be closed-minded about these kind of things. We shall see, but this is day one. So I've got to spend the next couple hours, at least 2 to maybe 4 hours in order to work on it, work on the arrangement, and all that kind of stuff. So here we go. So the other thing is that in order to do the lyric video, I have to sing the song. And I'm not going to do it for this recording. But I just wanted to mention it to say, as far as cognitive dissonance is, that's the other piece. Because I have to sing, and I'm not a singer, so I don't, belt it or anything. I just kind of sing it simply just for the purpose of the person, the company that's doing the lyric videos. But at the same time, I just wanted to mention that to say, like, that's another part of it, because I have to sing certain aspects or certain things that I don't agree with. Somebody probably would say, get someone else to sing it. But as far as this process, it's just more convenient if I do it, because that's the only way I could get out the music on a daily basis. So I have to, until I don't anymore. Yep. And so there's a number of philosophical differences I feel about the song in general, but the part that hits the deepest for me as far as cognitive dissonance would be from here to here. You paid the price for me way back on Calvary. Of course, this is a central idea within Christianity that I'm extremely familiar with, being a Christian for the majority of my life, 28 of my 36 years. But now from a psychological perspective, and like I said, from a different philosophical perspective, to me, these lyrics right here, there's a number of other things that I have issues with when it comes to codependence, when it comes to devaluing the self in order to lift up another entity. But it's especially here, and I wish I could highlight it, but you guys see it. You paid the price for me way back on Calvary. When I think about how many times this song is sung, and even will be sung, even with my track, and how many times it's sung, that to me, there's certain mantras that when you keep telling yourself, they have effect. And there are many, everything is like that, really, to be honest, especially when it comes to music. So when I think about the fact that this is duplicated over and over, it continues for me to put people in a never-ending relationship with guilt. And there was at one point in my life where I used to think that was healthy and okay, and it felt humble, and it felt very submissive and warm and fuzzy. Now I see it as something that is not healthy at all. The way that I think about that is when there are people on earth that even if they do, first of all, they, to put us in a predicament like that, and to basically say, hey, before you were born, I did something for you that was really one of the most, people see it as amazing, but if you have all power and you decide to use that to do what we would consider the worst, which is to kill or be killed, then to me, at that point, you're holding something over a person's head that they'll never be able to outlive. Many people experience that as something positive. It makes them feel warm and fuzzy. But what I realize is that, if it doesn't, or you don't necessarily agree with that, it's completely opposite. And I think that it has long-term effects even on those that where it feel warm and fuzzy. Not everybody, but again, even with this particular vlog, I'm really only interested in reaching the people that say, you know what, I've been quietly, I've been having these feelings too. And I just didn't know who to talk to about it. Quietly, I've been knowing that I wasn't crazy, but it's just that I was in a community where, everyone thought differently, and I was afraid to speak up. I was even afraid to even honor my feelings. And I really feel that this kind of theology does that. It doesn't allow you to honor your feelings when it comes to, you honoring your feelings over what you've been taught to believe. And so there are many people that are holding back on the fact that things like this don't make them feel comfortable because of the fact they are too afraid not to believe it. Quite literally speaking, and no pun intended, there's hell to pay for not accepting, even if it doesn't make sense to you. And then, or furthermore, even if it's not something that you actually accept on earth, it's not something that you would accept. I mean, if there was someone out here that said, you know what, for and this is terrible that I even have to use this, because I still don't think that the idea of sacrificing someone else for mistakes that someone else would make makes any sense, especially not when you're the creator, so-called the creator of that particular formula. But the point I'm making is that if someone did this on earth, we would say that they were holding something over a person's head to keep them into an eternal place of guilt. And I know many don't see that way, but that ultimately is what it is when you come back to the place of being a sinner, a wretch undone, being thankful because he didn't have to do it, and we're just so bad, and it's just so fortunate that an entity desires to love us. I think ultimately, psychologically, this keeps us in a place of infancy, even if it doesn't harm us or cause harm to our actual life. For some people it does, for many people it does. But even when it doesn't cause that, and we're relatively okay, I believe that it keeps us in a state and a mindset of infancy and codependency many times.